Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you my January wrap-up. In the month of January, I managed to read a total of 22 books, which I'm really happy with. That 22 books was made up of 19 novels, 1 graphic novel, 1 children/middle grade book, and 1 novella. So again, 19 novels I'm really happy with. Of those 22 things, I read 14 in physical format, 4 audiobooks, and 4 ebooks. And excluding audiobooks, I read 10 books that I owned and 8 from the library. So I actually read more books that I owned this month than from the library, which is a great statistic. I read a total of 7,496 pages, which I am totally stoked with. So that averaged out to a total of 241 pages a day, which again is an amazing statistic. The longest book that I read this month was 506 pages, and the shortest book I read was 64 pages, which was the novella. The highest star rating I gave this month was a 4.25 stars, and the lowest star rating I gave was a 1.5 star, which is a bit disappointing. So my average star rating for the month is actually only 3.17 stars. So it's above 3, which I guess is good, but it's not really that great of an average. I would definitely like to bring that average up in future months in 2017. But overall, I'm really happy with how my January reading month went. As always, I did film a mid-month wrap-up, which I will link in the cards for you guys. So I talked about the first 9 books that I read from the 1st through the 15th in that video. So I will just be talking about the other, 13 books that I read from the 16th through the 31st of January. So let's get started. The first book I want to talk about is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. Now, I have mentioned that I did previously read the first 3 books in this series. I believe it was in 2009. It would have been just after the 3rd book had been published, I believe, when it was originally supposed to be just a trilogy. And I actually was surprised by how much I remembered from the series, which I guess is a good thing. And as I read it, was reading it, I would remember more and more. I feel like for such a long book, this is the longest book that I read in the month. This is 506 pages. Not a lot happens. I really enjoy the world, and it's a very easy to read, addictive kind of writing, and it was fun and enjoyable and everything, but I just felt like for such a long book, not a whole lot happened. So yeah, I did really enjoy it. I gave it 3.5 stars. But yeah, I presume that the series gets a lot better as it goes on, because at the moment I'm kind of does this really live up to the hype? I'm not sure, but I did enjoy it. Next, I read Beauty Queens by Libba Bray, which I actually listened to on audio, and Libba Bray actually narrates this herself, which I didn't realize till the end of the narration that it was actually the author who was doing the narration. This book is pretty interesting. It follows a plane full of teenage beauty queens that basically crashes on a desert island, and it's about the survivors of this plane crash trying to survive on the island. It has good diversity. It has a lesbian character, another character who is kind of questioning her sexuality. It has a trans character. It has a character with a hearing disability. It has an African American character. It has an Indian character. So the diversity was really awesome. There's a large cast of characters, and I don't know if it was just the audiobook, but particularly towards the beginning, until I got quite a chunk of the way into it, I was very confused about which character was which, because there were so many characters. The plot is frankly ridiculous, but I think it's one of those stories where it's a satire. It's supposed to be ridiculous, but at the same time, I would read parts and just go, what is this? I did like some of the commentary and the things that I could tell the author was trying to get across. I did really appreciate. The author's note at the end is amazing. That made me appreciate the story quite a lot. I think I probably would have given this a 2.5 stars, but that author's note had me bumping it up to a 3. It did kind of give me more of an overall enjoyment of it. But again, it was just some weird things. And I don't know if this was done intentionally. It may have been some kind of commentary, but all of the male characters in it had really weird names, like Tane and St. John and Duff. And I was just like, what is happening? And there is one really good part that has a really good message, I thought, about birth control. which I thought was a really good point. But overall, it was just one of those stories that I didn't know how to feel about it coming out of it. So in the end, as I said, I gave it 3 stars. The next book I completed was City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. This is book 2. My main issue with this one is that I thought the pacing was a little bit off in this one. Even just like with the variance in chapter lengths. Some, like the shortest chapter in this I think was like 8 or 9 pages, but then you had a chapter that was like 40 pages. And I don't know, I felt like the pacing was a little bit off. I did think we got some good character development in this one, which was good, but there is a romantic element that I won't give away if you haven't read it, because it is a bit of a spoiler, I guess, that it squeaks me out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. So in the end, I ended up giving this one the same rating as the first book, which was 3.5 stars. Next, I read Thorne Addy by Nancy Olin. This is a young adult retelling of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And if you recall, when I hauled this book, I was so excited. This was shit. I gave this 1.5 stars. It was my lowest rating, and I'm not even gonna lie, my rating is probably deeply affected by my level of disappointment because I was so excited. But poor boy, this book, I wouldn't even call it a retelling. It is literally the story of Rebecca in a young adult format with a kind of paranormal twist, minus the great writing. Every single character was underdeveloped. I didn't believe a single character motivation. The author tried to add in a kind of twist at the end, but it was so B-grade horror movie cliche that it actually hurt me to read it. I'm sorry. Some people may have enjoyed this book, I don't know, but I thought it was shit and I was so upset about it. So yeah, I gave this 1.5 stars. The next book I finished was If I Fix You by Abigail Johnson. I actually listened to this on audio. This is a young adult contemporary story that follows a girl who she's always kind of trying to fix things. She works like in a mechanic shop with her dad, and at the beginning of the story something has happened in which her mother has left, but also her best friend, who is a boy who she's been in love with like her whole life. Something has also happened in that relationship as well, which has caused her to kind of fall out of love with him, etc. And it kind of follows that then a boy moves in next door to her, and he has kind of a messed up relationship with his mother, and it kind of just like follows this whole story. I actually quite enjoyed this. I will say the romance didn't go where I thought I wanted it to go, but I was okay with it. I ended up actually being really happy with the ending, and I really liked that the main character wasn't like super girly. Like, she was just like a normal everyday girl, but she was really into cars and like loved working at her dad's mechanic shop, and just, yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I really did enjoy it. In the end, I gave it 4 stars. It was really enjoyable. Next, I finished Unholy Murder by Felicity Pullman. This is the 3rd book in the Yana Chronicles. This one was okay. The plot has really like slowed down in this one, and also a fact that's starting to kind of annoy me because I'm 3 books in, is that the overall kind of like plot of the overall series has really slow progression. Like, we ain't getting much, and I'm just like, can we just kind of like get to the point? Like, we're 3 books in, I would like to know more than what I know. So my enjoyment level of this one did kind of go down a bit. In the end, I gave this one 3 stars. Next, I completed City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. This is the 3rd book and the last of the books that I had previously read. I didn't remember as much of this one, which was really interesting. I did think we got a lot of great character development, particularly for Simon and Jace in this one, which I really liked. I also really loved all the descriptions kind of like Idris and Alicante. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It sounds like the city just sounds really beautiful. I really liked Amethyst. I hope we get more of her in future books. I really just liked kind of a lot that happened in this book. I will say that my favorite characters in the series so far are definitely Magnus, Simon, and Luke. They're my 3 favorites. This is my favorite of the series so far, and I gave this one 4 stars. Next, I completed 10 Big Ones by Janet Ivanovic. This is the 10th book in the Stephanie Plum series. I don't really know what to say about this one. The books are still fun and funny. I find it really odd that in this series, Stephanie is a bounty hunter, and there's a character in this, like, who she's having, like, a romantic kind of relationship with in, like, an on-again, off-again sense, who wants her to kind of, like, get rid of her job and be a housewife, and she's really against that. She doesn't want to be a housewife, etc. So that sounds like it would be really feminist, but somehow the books are still extremely sexist. And I also am getting, like, we're 10 books in, and there is a lot of toing and froing in the romance, which I don't mind so much, but it just feels like we're just constantly retreading old ground, and it's starting to get a little bit old. And there are 20 books. I think book 24 is being published, like, in 2017. Like, the series is going on, and I'm just kind of like, are we going to be toing and froing on this same issue for another 14 books? Because if we are, I don't know if I can deal. In the end, I gave this one 2.5 stars. It is enjoyable. It's probably my least favorite of the series so far, but yeah, 2.5 stars. Next, I listened to The Two Little Girls in Blue by Mary Higgins Clark on audio. This is a book about two twin girls who are about 3 years old who are kidnapped, and they pay a ransom, but only one of the twins is returned, and the, like, kidnapper has left a note saying that they're sorry, but they accidentally killed the other twin. However, the remaining twin has like some kind of, you know, psychic twin connection with the other twin, and they start to think that maybe the other twin is not dead. I don't know, this story just kind of fell a little bit flat for me. I just felt very run-of-the-mill. I'm really into, like, twins and the whole twin connection thing. This one felt a little overdone. Like, it wasn't just like there was a general feeling that it was like that the twins, like, you know, she could talk to the other twin when she wasn't there and stuff, and I was just like, it was a little bit too, like, far-fetched for a story that's not supposed to be, like, you know, a paranormal or anything like that story. So I was just kind of like, eh. I didn't feel that connected to, there are a lot of people kind of involved in the kidnapping, you know, like, you get their perspective, but there's the one kind of big organizer of it called the Pied Piper, who you don't know who it is. I quite frankly couldn't have given a shit. Like, who was it? I do know because I've read it, but I didn't really care, like, about the reveal. So I don't know. I think I gave us 2.5 stars. It was okay. A bit boring, just a bit run-of-the-mill. I just didn't really care, to be honest. Next, I read Sweet Tooth Volume 1 Out of the Woods by Jeff Lemire. I didn't really like this. I gave this 2.25 stars. I like the premise. I don't really like the art. I'll show you guys a bit of the art, like, so you can see. I don't know if you, like, it's not really, like, kind of like my style that I'm into. I didn't really like it. I do like the main character, Gus. But I don't know that I liked this enough to continue. At this stage, I'm saying that I'm not going to continue. If you have read this series and you think it's worth continuing, let me know, because I did think the premise was kind of interesting, but overall I just didn't really enjoy it. Like I said, I gave this 2.25 stars. Next, I completed Pilgrim of Death by Felicity Pullman. This is the 4th book in the Yarna Chronicles. This book is a little bit more, was a little bit more interesting to me than book 3. I did really miss, there's 2, like, kind of side characters that weren't present in this one, and I did kind of miss their input into the series. Each of these books has kind of like a mystery in it, and the mystery in this one was like, I mean, they're all pretty predictable, but this one was, like, just real predictable. Like, it wasn't even really a mystery, to be honest. We are starting to get more substantive answers in this one about what's going on in the overall, like, series arc, which was good, so I did appreciate that, but I still just gave this one 3 stars. Next, I completed The Chase by Virginia Bocart. This is just a novella set in the world that follows Pfeiffer and Schuller, set in the Witch Hunter series. I was a little bit disappointed in this, to be honest with you. We don't get that much interaction, actually, between Pfeiffer and Schuller. Like, which I thought was really weird. We did get some good insights into their character, but I really just wanted to see them, like, together, and we didn't get that, so I was a little bit disappointed. It was still enjoyable, and like I said, the insights into the characters were good, but this wasn't really what I was hoping for, so in the end I gave this one 3 stars. And the final book that I read in the month of January was Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I actually really enjoyed this, you guys. This was, I could immediately tell as soon as I started reading this that I was probably going to enjoy this more than I have enjoyed the Mortal Instruments so far. This has a much more kind of gothic feel to it, which I love, like that kind of gothic feel, so that just really, like, spoke to me and was, like, right up my alley. I love all the characters, particularly the main 3, Tessa, Will, and Jem. I was just really intrigued about all of them. I was super, super intrigued like at the end to kind of see where we're going to go in the series. Like I just really did enjoy this. I will say that surprisingly, because you hear a lot about this, that I have been unspoiled for like what the story is actually about. Like as I was reading it, I was thinking, I really haven't heard that much about what's actually happening in this, which was good. I have been spoiled for like the love triangle. So fuck you to the person who spoiled me on that. But yeah, so that's disappointing because I feel like that would add a whole nother element if I didn't know kind of what was going to happen, and I do. So I feel like that's taken away a little bit for it, which is really upsetting. But I did really, really enjoy this. I'm really looking forward to finishing the next 2 books in this series, and in the end I gave this one 4 stars. So those are the books that I read in January. I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below if you've read any of these, if you have any thoughts, anything that you read in January that you really, really enjoyed. My favourite book of January would probably be Career of Evil, the 3rd book in the Cormoran Strike series by Robert Galbraith. But yeah, I'd love to chat with you guys in the comments down below. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. But that's all I've got for this video today. Bye guys!